Hello, I'm Burt Green. This is the Burt Locker. This is the Casuals Guide to UFC Saudi Arabia, headlined by Israel Adesanya and Nasruddin Imavov. This is just a quick guide to the whole fight card. I do every single fighter, every single fight, little bits of information, quick hit style on every single one. I make a pick on each one as well, but I'll be doing terrible bets on the Saturday. So if you just like and subscribe to the channel, and you'll see the terrible bets drop. They are terrible, but they are fun as well. They're really fun. It's like a fun scratch card. But I need to start getting through this card because I like to do it in 15 minutes or less. Let's see if I can stick to that because I don't always, but I will certainly do my best. Let's get cracking. Hamdi Abdel Ahab, the Hammer, against Jamal Pogues, heavyweight division. You've got uh, Abdel Wahab. He's undefeated, all knockouts, right? However, he won in the UFC and then popped hot, and he's been cycling off ever since 2022. So look, it would have been a split decision win for him anyway. Yeah, I'm not convinced. Jury's out. Pogues, he's got a 5-inch reach advantage. He's 2-1 in the UFC. He beat Mick Parkin, who I actually really rate. Pogues, easy win for me on this one. I think he's the more active fighter with the stronger schedule. He's got the better reach, and he isn't reliant on substances. Bogdan Grad from Romania, 14-2 against Lucas, 8-4 from the Brazilian. Bogdan, he's got good grappling. His hands are okay. He probably does have a grappling advantage, in all honesty, which he's going to look to exploit. Now, Alexander has struggled in the UFC. He's got good striking. He usually looks to work out a decision, so I'm going Bogdan by decision in that one. Jasmine Juzadavicius, 12-3, taking on Myra Bueno Silva, the former title challenger. Now, Jasmine, she's very good. Strong wrestling, really, really strong. Her finish rate isn't great, but it's actually getting better. 2 in her last 3 were submission wins, including the Bravo choke in her last fight. Myra was unstoppable when she was on that ADHD medication, which turned out was tainted with all the steroids. She hasn't won since. Funny that, isn't it? So anyway, dangerous submissions, though. She is a savage, but she hasn't looked very good ever since she got popped for performance-enhancing drugs and came back. I'm not accusing her of anything. I'm just saying those are the facts. Since that happened, she hasn't looked good. I'm taking Juzadavicius in this one. Decision because I'm not sure that Myra is even there anymore. Abdul Karim Al Salwadi, 15-4, plays Bolaj Oki, 9-2, from Belgium, 155-pound division. Now, Salwadi is half decent on the regional scene, but in the UFC, it's been a little bit rough. He's been knocked out 4 times, which isn't great, considering the level of competition he was getting knocked out by. Now, Oki is a monster. 5 knockouts, 9 wins, although he's only 1-1 in the UFC. He's not the best, but I'm still going to take Oki in this one because I don't think his opponent is the best either, in all honesty. Terence McKinney, 15-7, taking on Damar Hadzovic, the Bosnian Bomber, let's call him. I like that. It's a good nickname, the Bosnian Bomber. 14-7. This, again, is 155-pound division. Now, this is a really good matchup. Good matchmaking, this one. This is one that you should definitely tune into. Now, McKinney, he's a finisher, right? He's got 15 wins, 7 losses. All 15 wins are finishes, right? He lives by the sword and he dies by it. He's must-see TV. He can grapple, he can strike. He can really do it all. Now, Hadzovic, he's a strong, durable Bosnian, right? He's gritty, he's well-rounded. He's just so good everywhere. He doesn't make the same kind of mistakes that Terence McKinney makes because both of them have 7 losses on their records and both of them get a lot of finishes. But I'm going to take Hadzovic here because percentage-wise, when you look at his losses, he doesn't get... This fight is going to come down to somebody getting caught, and Hadzovic gets caught less than McKinney does. But toss a coin and have fun and watch that fight is what I would say. Shamil Gaziv from Russia takes on Thomas Peterson in the heavyweight division. 13-1, plays 9-2. Gaziv he had an aura until he fought Rosenstruik, and then he had to retire from the fight. I mean, not from MMA, because he was just getting battered and he was exhausted. He then dominated Dontal Mays, but it remains to be seen if if he's got the heart for this, honestly, because you got to have a certain amount of grit to make it in the UFC. I'll tell you, he's got good wrestling, really good ground and pound though. Now Peterson is another one of the big guys with good ground and pound. He beat Kamaru Usman's brother in his last fight, but he hasn't had a wealth of experience in the UFC. I think Gazee probably gets another win here. If I'm totally honest, I'm going to go with the TKO. Fares Zaim, 16-4, taking on Mike Davis, 11-2. So you've got France taking on America, 155-pound division. Now Zaim, he's solid in all areas. He's a good MMA guy. I watched him beat Jai Herbert in London. Actually, that was a good one. He needs Frevola into the dark realm in Paris, and he has momentum on his side. Momentum is a thing in the fight game. Now Davis, he beat Mason Jones, who I actually really rate. He was a lad that came through from Cage Warriors. Fantastic talent. He's on a 4-5 win streak as well. 2 finishes. He's well-rounded. The reach advantage goes to Zaim. So on paper, it's a very close matchup. Just because of the reach, I'm going to go with Zaim by decision in that one. Then you've got Mohamed Naimov from Tajikistan against Khan Offley, the Australian. So you've got 11-3 playing 12-3, 145 pounds. Naimov, look, before losing to Felipe Lima in June, he was on a tear. He was beating some top guys as well. He beat Malaki Wood and Eric Silva. Those are all 3 very, very impressive wins. Now, he's looking to bounce back. He does have a 4-inch reach advantage in this fight. Offley is over from Australian top team. He seems to be inclined to submit people more than he'll strike with them. He lost his UFC debut by knockout, and that's going to affect his confidence. So I'm going to go with Naimov for the knockout here. That's just my prediction. Saeed Nurmagomedov from Russia taking on Vinicius Oliveira from Brazil, 135-pounders, bantamweights. 18-3 plays 21-3. Now Saeed, he's very, very strong. He's got great grappling, really good ground and pound, and very, very good submissions. His finish rate since joining the UFC has picked up, which is rare. It's usually lots of finishes in the regionals, and then the finishes drop off when you get into the UFC. But he does have 5 out of his 10 finishes are in the UFC. He did lose to Rene Barcelos, which I mentioned in my other video, the guy who just beat Peyton Talbot. So actually, that the evidence was there. That Barcelos, he's no joke. He's no joke. He's really good. Oliveira, he's a really dangerous kickboxer. Really dangerous. 4-fight win streak, 16 knockouts on 21 wins. Dangerous kickboxers can look very not dangerous against brilliant grapplers. And as good as Oliveira is, I just think the Saeed Nurmagomedov submission is probably on the cards here. You've got Sergey Pavlovich then taking on Jairzinho Rozenstruik in the heavyweight division, 18-3, taking on 15-5. The Surinamese Rozenstruik, he's a very good technical kickboxer. He's had his ups and downs. He sometimes waits too much. Sometimes he needs to press the action a bit more, be a bit quicker. And he's 3 in his last 6, but his wins are against Gaziev, who quit, Tai Tuivasa, who's a tailor-made matchup for him, and Jalton Almeida, who with respect was struggling at the time. Pavlovich is none of those people. Pavlovich, he was unstoppable until he got stopped, right? Since then, he's dropped a decision to Volkov, who just had a great strategy on the night. If you're 7 feet tall and you perfect that teep kick, it's going to be difficult to get around that. Honestly, that's what Pavlovich found out that night. But he's still dangerous. 15 knockouts on 18 wins. His short punches are very, very dangerous. He's almost Carwin-esque with those short punches. They come from, there's very little wind up. He gets in short, but they knock people into a different dimension. And that's where I think this one's going, honestly. I think that to beat Pavlovich, you've got to shut him down very, very quickly. Jairzinho doesn't tend to do that, in all honesty. So for me, I feel like he doesn't have the speed to shut him down early, and that's dangerous. So I'm going with a Pavlovich knockout for me. Sharat Magomedov, 15-0, taking on Michael Venom Page, 22-3. This one for me, fight of the night, because I'm just looking forward to it. Now, Sharat Magomedov, if you don't know this guy, right, he's this Russian kickboxer, but he's also a pirate because he's got one eye and he wears a bandana all the time. And unlike all these Russians that come over and just specialize in wrestling, he's a pure kickboxer. He loves just getting into a real tear-up. And he's very skilled. His timing's great. His leg kicks, his head kicks, his everything. He throws all the spinning stuff. He's so much fun to watch. But do you know who else is really fun to watch? Michael Venom Page. Like he comes from a karate background, but when you see what he's done to people, he gets their timing, he gets in and out, he's elusive. His punches and kicks come from unexpected angles, and that creates some truly sensational knockouts. And this, when MVP's having to, like, neither man is going to have to worry about a takedown in this one. It's going to be a stand-up kickboxing fight, I would have thought. For me, this fight tonight, I think Shara's going to pressure. I think MVP's going to counter. I think the only factor really got to look at here is that MVP is going up a weight class. He usually fights at welterweight. This one's at middleweight, so far as I'm aware. Now, he's also 37 years old. That's not young. That's not young for a mixed martial artist, especially when you're reliant on speed and reactions. Speed and reactions are the first things to go. Look at what happened with Anderson Silva. He was the quickest and got out of the way of everything until all of a sudden he just couldn't one day. As much because I'm a UK fan, I'm biased as all hell. Love Michael Venom Page, huge fan of his, and I think he could win this, but my pick is going to be Sharon Magomedov just because he's younger, he fights at this weight class anyway, and those are my reasons. Those are my reasons. Either way, fight of the night, that one's going to be really, really, really fun to watch. Co-main event as well, rightfully so. And the main event, Israel Adesanya taking on Nassourdine Imavov. Now, this is Adesanya. If you don't know who Israel Adesanya is, he was a long-time middleweight champion, pure kickboxer, came from a K1 kickboxing background. He's done it already. He's got nothing left to prove in the sport, but we just want to see a few more good fights out of him because he's just so talented, so much fun to watch. And having him in a non-title fight is very, very rare. But it's just what the doctor ordered. Because look, all he's been doing is he won his title back from Alex Pereira, and then he defended it against Sean Strickland, but got beaten by Sean Strickland. He just had a really bad night there. I think he just needs to get himself together, and this is a fight where he can do that. Look, Imavov, he's really good. He's got a very similar style to Cyril Gane. I believe they both train in the same place. They're both from France, but they're very, very light, very sideways stance, very kick heavy, very in and out. Not dissimilar to what you're going to see from MVP, in all honesty. But he's reliant on getting in and out and not getting tagged. To try and do that against Israel Adesanya is going to be really, really difficult because Israel Adesanya is one of the best strikers to ever do it. And he's also going to be doing it with a quite significant reach disadvantage as well. I don't see how he overcomes that. I don't see how he gets in and out. I don't see how his striking, how his normal style is going to match up particularly well with Israel Adesanya. Honestly, I think this is a little bit of a layup for Israel Adesanya. I think he's going to look really good here. I like the knockout, but late, maybe round 4. And that is the whole fight card. That's the whole kit and caboodle. It's come in at just a shade over 13 minutes. How about that? I'm going to be doing some terrible bets. I like to put on some accumulators on the Saturday just because it is fun to do. It's like an MMA scratch card. It's like buying a scratch card, but you get to watch people punch each other in the face. For it, I'll be letting you know what times all the fights happening because it's in Saudi Arabia. It might be on at a normal time, which will be pretty nice. Anyways, until next time, keep those odds long and those bets terrible.